Zachary Taylor was the 12th President of the United States, serving from March 1849 until his death in July 1850. Taylor was a novice in politics and had little experience in government before becoming president. He was previously a general in the Mexican-American War, and his popularity stemmed from his war experience. A high of Taylor's presidency was the successful negotiation of the border dispute between Texas and Mexico. Taylor's military experience helped him to successfully navigate the tensions between the two countries. He was able to negotiate a settlement that was acceptable to both sides, which helped to prevent further conflict between the two countries. A low of Taylor's presidency was his handling of the issue of slavery. Taylor owned slaves, but he opposed the expansion of slavery into new territories. This put him at odds with many members of his party, the Whigs, and his efforts to find a compromise solution to the issue of slavery were largely unsuccessful. In July 1950, Zachary Taylor died suddenly, just 16 months into his presidency. Millard Fillmore was the 13th President of the United States, serving from July 1850 until March 1853. Fillmore inherited the controversial Compromise of 1850 from his predecessor, Zachary Taylor, and worked to see it through to completion. The Compromise of 1850 was a series of 5 bills passed dealing with the issue of slavery and was a result of years of political wrangling and negotiations. It admitted California as a free state to balance out the admission of Texas as a slave state in 1845. It let the territories of Utah and New Mexico decide for themselves if they wanted to be a free or slave state. The Compromise settled the Texas-New Mexico boundary dispute, permitted slavery in Washington, D.C., but outlawed the slave trade. The Compromise lastly included the Fugitive Slave Act. This law required that runaway slaves would be returned to their owners and imposed heavy fines and prison sentences on anyone who assisted them in their escape. It was deeply unpopular with many people in the northern states and increased tensions between the North and South. President Fillmore was a member of the Whig Party, which was formed in the early 1830s as a response to the policies of President Andrew Jackson. The party was a coalition of diverse groups, including Northern business interests, Southern planters, and Western farmers. Fillmore's presidency saw the decline of the Whig Party and the rise of the Republican Party, which would eventually replace it as one of the two major political parties in the United States.